hunt myself.
All right, hold on. Let's pause this because we have a phone call. Very important as far as the weekend goes with the UFC thing. Joe Rogan's on the phone, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Rogan.
Hi, Joe. What's up, Joe?
Hey, I got up specifically because I read Anthony Cumia's tweets.
Oh, my God. I was livid. I bet $25 on that match. And I got to tell you, I was playing poker with some of my buddies, and the fight was on. And I decided to bet $25. It had nothing to do with the money. It was the principle of it. Joe, what the fuck was that about?
Well, there's two problems with the decision. One of them is terrible judges, and two is a really bad scoring system that we took from boxing. The 10-point
must. Yes.
Yeah, it's a terrible system, and even though it's a terrible system, it's even in the form it's at, it's not even used correctly. Like, if you have a round where it's debatable who won, and you give them a 10-9 round, and then you have a round like round 2 where Hendricks rocked GSP, had him badly hurt, had him really fucked up, they give that a 10-9 round as well.
Right.
That makes zero fucking sense.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask you, Joe. Which rounds did you? I mean, I thought Pierre won. St. Pierre won round 3, and he looked better in round 5. Did you give him any rounds, or what did you think?
He could have had those 2 rounds.
Yeah.
3 and 5. The real issue is damage and the like what has been done to Johnny Hendricks. Just scoring, like tagging him or hurting him. Johnny Hendricks clearly hurt George way more than George hurt him, and this is the hurt game. It's all about hurt.
Right. I don't know why this has to be judged on the boxing criteria, why everybody thinks, well, it's this, and the way they judged it was because of the punches that connected and stuff. No, an effective part of this is how much you're beating the shit out of the other guy.
Yeah, without a doubt. And that's also what we were talking about, the issue with the scoring system. We just took the 10-point must system that was already approved by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So what MMA needs is a much more comprehensive system. You're dealing with kicks and knees and elbows and takedowns and submission attempts. So many more facets to fighting that exist in boxing that have to be scored and then have to be subjectively analyzed. It's a fucking mess.
Yeah. That was obviously Dana was not happy with the result of that one. He let it be known.
No one was happy.
And let me ask you, it felt like there was almost, and this might sound paranoid, but it felt almost like there was one of those judges was very pro-Canada because the Rory McDonald fight, and I love Rory McDonald, but I thought he clearly lost that fight. I think, if I remember, he won round 2, but I thought he pretty clearly lost that fight, and it was still a split decision. I'm like, how was that a split decision? Who thought he won that fight?
Yeah.
Well, the Rory fight was a little closer, and here's the issue. The leg kicks of Robbie Lawler were big in the first round, and then he landed a head kick towards the end of the round. I thought he won that round, but I could see someone scoring it for Rory. I wouldn't agree with them, but I could see it.
Okay. Do you mean round 2 or 3?
Round 1, I was saying for Rory. Round 2 was much more close, right? And then round 3, Robbie won in a big way.
Yeah, I thought it was Robbie, Rory, and then Robbie. Maybe you're right, but I was about round 1. But I was like, how did anybody see that as a fucking? It's just the judging is absolutely just atrocious, and it's not all like. And people who criticize Dana, it's like the UFC financially, it's a big advantage if GSP wins, and then they can probably promote a super fight if Silva wins. So for him to go out there and go, look, this just wasn't fair, is obviously he's not thinking of the money, he's thinking of what was the right and wrong decision.
Credibility.
Yeah. And for the UFC, first of all, it's terrible if a fighter wins but loses.
Yeah.
That's terrible because that gets everybody mad.
Yeah.
It gets people who bet angry. They lost money.
$25.
There's a lot of people in Vegas that bet on that fight.
Oh, man, they must have been really fucking pissed. Imagine that.
And rightly so. Look, the Nevada State Athletic Commission fucking sucks. They're terrible.
Yeah.
They've done nothing to change. They have a real issue with their judges. And a lot of the issue is these people have no martial arts experience whatsoever.
Right.
They're boxing judges that they've sort of trained in MMA.
Weird.
They have the same issue with the referees. You got referees that there's a woman named Kim Winslow. She stood someone up while they were in the middle of a submission attempt. You can't fucking do that.
Yeah.
Did you think?
Pinning a guy's arm down for an arm triangle. Now, if you understand jiu-jitsu, you know what he's doing. You see it, and you go, "Oh, he's moving. Oh, he's got the arm." And then she's standing him up. I go, Mike, what the fuck?
Wow.
Did you think? I thought that a couple of times. Who was the Asian referee? What's his name? Mario. Yeah. I thought that he a couple of times made them stand when they were just kind of locked up in the middle, and he broke it up. I thought a couple of times he was a little bit invasive, where he shouldn't have been too.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I didn't like that either. I don't know what they're doing. You know, there's a lot of the referees are standing people up and breaking people apart when they're fighting. Part of the fighting is you're trying to get a guy to the ground. It's a struggle, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that you got to separate them and make them strike for the fucking meathead fans. They're trying to bring the fight to the ground. You got to let them fight. That's part of the fight. If you can watch a fucking baseball game, that's the most boring shit ever. If you can watch that, you can't watch these two guys clinch in Mortal Kombat, trying to drag each other to the ground where they're going to strangle each other.
Yeah,
that's
people are
these fucking knuckleheads.
People are so used to boxing where if they're clinching, it's there isn't any action going on. You can't use that with MMA because people are trying submission holds and whatnot. Why would you get in there and bust up the two guys that are trying to actually work a hold?
So,
exactly.
Hey, Joe, so what can the UFC do about this so it doesn't happen again?
They can't do anything. That's the thing. The UFC all they are is a promoter. The Athletic Commission are the people that assign the referees. They're the people that assign the judges. They're the people that do everything. So
I think
there's not much they can do.
Herb Dean is my favorite of all the. I think he has the best instincts. He comes in like he's going to stop it, and then he sees the guy's okay. I find him to be the best one.
You're absolutely right. He's the best. He's the best. There's a bunch of real issues on when it comes to refereeing, when it comes to officiating fights, judging fights. There's a bunch of real fucking issues, and they haven't done anything about it. And it's the same issues that happen in boxing. When you saw, how about the last fight with Floyd Mayweather, where one of those fucking judges didn't score it 100% for Mayweather when he fought Canelo Alvarez. That's corruption. That woman is the same woman that scored Timothy Bradley beating Pacquiao, which was another atrocious decision. That's corruption. So you've got incompetence, and you've also got people that are probably getting paid.
Wow.
That's a real problem because, here's a position, like the Floyd Mayweather fight. It wasn't a unanimous decision. It was a majority decision. One of the fucking judges, that dumb cunt, scored it a draw. So when you look at that, you go, well, what's the significance? He still won. He didn't win a unanimous decision. And the betting on unanimous decision was huge.
Wow.
Because most of Floyd Mayweather's fights are won by unanimous decision. Almost all of them. The last time he stopped a guy, I believe, was Ricky Hatton. That was the last fight he stopped. Everyone knows he has brittle hands, so he doesn't blast guys. Oh, no, you know what? He stopped that other kid too, who was turning away, and he punched him. So
people don't realize you could bet on, whether it's a unanimous decision or not.
Right, so that's where a gambler can influence a judge. A gambler with a fuckload of money can come to a judge and say, listen, everybody knows Floyd's going to win this fight, but if one judge has it a draw, that's not going to hurt anybody, right?
Oh, man.
So one guy steps in and bets, a fucking $1 million on a 5-to-1 shot that it's a majority decision win. Because most people are not thinking it's going to be a majority decision win. So she gets paid, he gets paid. Now she just vanishes from boxing. She just retired.
Yeah, she's made her money.
C.J. Ross, I believe her name was.
Oh, she retired?
Yeah, she said, well, I'm going to step away for a little bit. Take care. See ya.
Later. Yeah.
Yeah, they stink, those judges, mate.
shit.
Yeah, that's a great point. I always thought the fact that it's in Vegas and they're so close to the casinos and so close to the gamblers, it's got to be very difficult to not allow that to influence you as a judge when you have so much power.
Oh, no doubt. And you're in fucking Vegas. It's the dirtiest place ever when it comes to that. It's a place that was founded on corruption.
Yeah, yeah. Is it only Vegas that you have these problems with?
Well, you know, look, I love Vegas. I don't think there's anything wrong with Vegas. I think there's wrong with people. When it comes to money and influence and just being incompetent, a lot of people just fucking suck.
Yeah, yeah.
And then there's also the issue that people get into power and they're essentially politicians. If they revamp the system, they would have to admit that they were wrong. And then someone has to come along and say, well, what the fuck were you guys doing back in this fight? And how come you didn't do it after that fight? So it becomes an issue of admitting that you fucked up in the first place.
So you guys have there's no recourse, there's nowhere to go. I mean, Dana was talking about, getting the governor involved.
Well, he's right, because when you're dealing with athletic commissions, they're all people that are essentially government workers. They were trying to get the government involved after the Manny Pacquiao decision, after that one with Manny Pacquiao and Timothy Bradley, where everybody thought that Manny Pacquiao won, and Timothy Bradley was a big underdog but won the fight. A lot of people thought that was corruption, and again, that was one of the same people. This woman, C.J. Ross, who doesn't do it anymore, and then there was the fight with Canelo Alvarez and Mayweather, where everybody thought Mayweather pitched a shutout, and this one chick, the same one, comes along and
She's in jail. It's amazing.
She looks awful. And by the way, I hate her fucking androgynous initials. I detest her attempt to not let people know her gender till she shows up because she thinks that's how she'll avoid bias. CJ.
Yeah, that's actually how Jamie Foxx changed his name so he could get up at the Laugh Factory.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because his name isn't Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is a stage name that he created because it sounded like a girl.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Holy shit.
That's amazing.
Wow, it does.
The Laugh Factory, it's actually kind of genius.
It really is. I went the same direction, but cunt McGillicuddy never flew. Well, that makes sense, dude.
Yeah.
But by the way, Bob Kelly tweeted me, and he might have texted me that they're going to do a rematch in Dallas, which is where I guess Johnny is from. Is that not true, or is that just being true?
They may do that. Here's another issue that I haven't talked about before, but I'll talk about with you guys. I think George should retire. And one of the reasons why I think George should retire is George was on my podcast, and he was which is also available on the Opie and Anthony channel on
Yes.
radio. And he was talking about being abducted by aliens.
Come on.
Yeah, and I was going, you think you get abducted by aliens? He was like, there are times when I am driving my car, he starts talking about, like, missing time. Like, he started talking about how he's driving his car, and all of a sudden he's at home, and he has no idea where he got there.
Yeah, I've had that happen.
Yeah,
it's not aliens, that's for sure.
Do you think it's
alcohol?
Do you think it's Alzheimer's or something?
I think it's head kicks and punches.
Oh, okay.
From the planet Jägermeister. That's usually the problem.
Well, he mentioned the memory, too, in the post-game interview.
Yeah, well, that was that fight. That fight, after, the fight, he had some serious memory loss.
Holy
I
fuck.
think he's taking too many shots. And an interesting statistic is that George has taken more punches and kicks in the last 3 fights than any of his fights ever. In fact, 50% of the shots that he's taken in his entire career were in the last 3 fights.
Yeah, when you're at that point, you got to get the fuck out, or you're just going
to
be a disaster.
I honestly do. I know the UFC probably doesn't want to hear me say that. I know that, that could be a huge rematch. First of all, I think they should just give Johnny Hendricks the belt. I think Johnny Hendricks won that fight. I think that there's real problems with judging, and I don't think that there should be a way that a guy could win a fight but yet lose a fight. I think there's got to be a way they can step in and figure out how to, if it's a unanimous sort of a verdict like this, where everyone across the board, all throughout, almost every expert, there's a few contrarians out there that
of course.
It was scored, if you score it, you could score it for GSP, and I've read a lot of really fucking dumb people that thought GSP tapped in the first round.
No, you mean Johnny Hendricks, because he was moving his hand, but he did not tap.
He was. He did not tap in the first round. People are fucking retarded.
Didn't it almost look like... Cause I saw him move his hand like that later in the fight, too, but he was standing up, and it was almost like a judging thing, like almost like a stutter step, but he was doing it with his hand. It didn't look like a tap.
Well, he's trying to figure out what to do with his hips. He's trying to figure out how to... Well, when you got a guy on top of you, and he's mounting you, and he's trying to choke you, the options are twofold. One, you got to figure out how to push him off you, and two, you got to figure out how to separate the choke. So he's got to figure out what to do. So he's in the middle of trying to decide how tight is his choke, and that depends on like which way he's twisting his neck. Can he twist his neck out of it? Can he tuck his chin? Should he put his hands on his hips, or should he grab the choke? And so he probably had like a moment of hesitation.
Yeah,
he's like, he tapped.
Yeah, and it looks like you're tapping, but
it's not a tap. You don't tap that quick. The only way you tap that quick is if a guy is ripping your fucking neck off your head. And that just wasn't happening.
Can I pull your head off your neck?
I was impressed with Johnny Hendricks, dude. I thought he was like kind of like fucking Roy Nelson, where he had one big punch, but his with his left. I'm like, this is a GSP is going to kick the shit out of him. I was completely wrong. He's much more rounded than I gave him credit for.
He's a badass wrestler. Those badass wrestlers, when you're dealing with a guy who's a 2-time Division I national champion, wrestling is the gruelest fucking sport on the planet. And when you're dealing with a guy who's gone through the ranks of amateur wrestling and gotten to the top, you're dealing with a guy who knows how to compete, he knows how to win. Mentally, they're incredibly strong. There's a lot of factors leading into that. And then there's the fact that he fucking hits hard.
Yeah.
I didn't like a lot of things about that fight, watching George fight. I didn't like that he wasn't moving his head. And I was mentioning that in the fight, like, he's not moving his head off the center line. Like, when he was standing, he was, like, moving in or moving out. And Johnny was tagging him over and over again. He was hitting him in the clinch. When George was trying to take him down, Johnny was blasting him with elbows. I think there's a certain amount of enthusiasm and passion that that any champion has to have. And I think George is starting to let that slip because I think he's concerned about his health.
Right.
As he should be. Jesus Christ.
What do you think about Weidman Silva too, which is a fight that I want to go to? I actually booked Las Vegas just so I can go to a fucking fight.
That's going to be amazing. That's going to be an amazing fight.
Do you think that Silva's able to beat him, or do you think that Weidman just has his number?
Well, when a guy knocks you out, that's a huge psychological advantage. And when a guy knocks you out because you're clowning, you feel like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, I mean, that was like the biggest, oh my God, I feel like an idiot moment ever in the UFC. Guy drops his hands, he's taunting a guy, and the guy goes, oh, really? Think? And just knocks him unconscious. I mean, it was terrible.
Doesn't that also make it like maybe psychologically easier for Silva, because he's like, I know what I was doing was stupid, so that won't happen again, as opposed to giving it your best and still getting knocked out?
It's possible, but you know what? Here's another thing. Brazilians are mad at Silva. Like, apparently, like, Brazil was like, Anderson Silva was the darling of Brazil, but now Anderson was getting booed.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Brazil at a fight. And
he looked like an idiot.
Yeah, well, people are upset. Like, you made us look stupid. Like, they're very nationalistic. I mean, I'm sure he could get all that back if he won. And, But, and then the other thing is, Chris Weidman is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
He's a motherfucker, dude. He's a different kind of guy. He's a strong dude, very strong mentally, and he believes in himself 100%. And going into that fight, he has issues with his knees. Weidman's had trouble with his knees for a long time, but he recently went and got this blood spinning procedure done in
Germany.
Oh, that seems to be the thing to do, yeah.
Well, I just got it done.
Yeah.
I just got it done on my neck. It's fucking amazing.
What did it do for you?
I had a bulging disc in my neck that's been bothering me for years from jiu-jitsu, from just getting my neck cranked. And I was getting numbness in my hands at one point in time, so I stopped. I got real proactive with it, did a lot of different therapies, spinal decompression, all these different injections, like Prolo Ozone, where they're trying to promote healing in the area. But nothing worked like this shit. This shit, they take your blood out, and then they take out like a liter of blood. It's a fucking Evian bottle of blood. It's huge. I put pictures of it on my Instagram, how much blood they take out. It's ridiculous.
Shit.
It actually gave me the flu, because I was kind of sick going in. I have a little bit of sniffles, and they took all this blood out. My body just went,
yeah, we need that. We need that stuff, Joe.
Yeah. Hey, stupid.
Yeah.
You already got the sniffles. We're trying to work on it.
So wait, they take your blood, they
take your
spin
blood
it
out, and they spin it in a centrifuge and apply heat to it. And apparently it makes your blood produce all sorts of different factors for healing. And it becomes the most effective anti-inflammatory drug known to man.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's produced by your own blood. It's not FDA approved in America, so like if you get it done in America, which I did, you have to do what's called off-label, which means your insurance doesn't cover it, and it's expensive. It's like $12,000. But in Germany, they're just much more advanced than us because they didn't have to deal with all the stem cell bullshit of the Bush administration. Right? So they can do all these different types of procedures, and they get actual, insurance and research. And so with this blood spinning, they spin it around, they heat it up, and then they take out this yellow serum, and then they inject it directly into joints. To me, it was in my back. Dana White had it done. They did it intramuscularly with him because he has Meniere's disease or something in his ears.
Is it still helping him?
Fuck yeah, it's incredible. This stuff is like, it reduces inflammation like almost instantly. Within 2 days after the injections, I was like, holy shit, I got a new neck. It's like, for years, my neck was always stiff. I'd have to get deep tissue massages a couple times a week just to be able to do things.
Joe, in baseball and sports and stuff like that, they're totally against this. They think there's HGH involved, and I know. HGH. Because Bartolo Colon, the pitcher for the A's, went over to Germany and got this done, and all of a sudden he started pitching great. And they were researching it. They wanted medical records, what went on, why you healed, why can you throw a fastball 92 miles an hour at 42 years old?
Yeah, but it's just healing. That's all it is. I mean, if they're against healing, they're assholes. This isn't anything there's no, like, steroids or superhuman effects or anything where it's making you grow extra muscle or thicken your tendons. Which there's things already you can do that are legal. One of the things that I had done was called prolo-ozone therapy. And prolotherapy has been done for years. And a lot of grapplers do it actually just to strengthen their tendons when they don't even have injuries. What it is they inject this glucose solution directly into your tendons. And it makes them thicken and strengthen as much as 40%.
That sounds fucked up.
Yeah, I've had it done on my knees. I've had it done on my wrist. I've had it done on my back. It's painful as fuck, but it's very legitimate. It really does have a substantial benefit in the tendon strength. It's a permanent improvement. So people are doing that legally. I mean, you're strengthening your tendons by 40% legally.
Why doesn't sports like baseball and football to get these big stars back on the field quicker, get into this?
Well, they are doing it. Peyton Manning did it. That's how he's playing football again.
Oh, right, because did he go over to Germany to get this done?
What's that?
Did he go over to Germany to get that?
Yeah. He was ready to retire. He had 2 fucking neck surgeries. He was ready to pack it in. He had the exact same injury that I had.
What's the big aversion here in the United States for making this mainstream?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of different pressures. There's orthopedic surgeons that don't like it because it's going to fucking kill their business. People that are doing hip surgeries. There's people that they're sawing the top of people's hips off.
Yeah.
They saw your fucking femur off, replace it with this mechanical joint that's not necessary if you go and get this regenokine in a lot of circumstances.
Wow.
It's called regenokine. And regenokine, but you can read about it online. They explain all the different things that it does.
Joe, you ever see when they saw the top of the femur off and then they fucking mallet hammer that metal fucking ball in there?
Yes.
Oh, it's crazy looking.
It's horrific. I had a friend who had it done recently.
Really?
It's amazing. 6 weeks later, actually, another friend, Mark Coleman, the former UFC heavyweight champion, he had his done.
Really?
His hips were shot. All those years of grueling wrestling practice rips your cartilage apart and gives you arthritis in your knees.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, if there's another way to do it, obviously, that would be the better way. But it is amazing that they figured out how to fucking put a metal goddamn ball joint on your leg and shove it back into the fucking socket.
It is amazing. And if it was the best option,
right.
But obviously the best option is getting your body to heal quicker. Because once they do that, once they saw that thing off, that's it, man. You don't have that anymore. So you're going to have to deal with that forever. If it goes, those things are only good for like 10, 15 years, I think, too. So, or maybe 25, whatever it is. But there's a finite amount of time those mechanical joints are good for.
Yeah.
They're going to have to replace it with a new one.
There's always this image that that surgery is always very delicate, and you see the doctor with the scalpel doing this very delicate maneuver, and then you watch these shows, they're literally taking a hammer and chisel and fucking like banging at the guy's hips and using a sawzall like his fucking carpenter notching a header. It's unbelievably hard to watch.
Yeah, it's terrifying shit, man. Those doctors, there's a lot of them that specialize in that, and they're ready to look. For me, I went to a doctor, and he was like, hey, you know, you're going to need to get surgery. We're going to have to cut you open. We're going to have to chop a piece of your disc out. And the other option is we can replace it with an artificial disc. Like, they were saying that it was just a matter of time that I had to get surgery.
Christ.
You're going to deal with this no matter what. You got to get surgery.
Yeah.
This Regenikine shit, boom, done. 6 millimeter bulge in my neck, gone, vanished.
How big is 6 millimeters? How many inches is that, 6 millimeters?
It's about the size of your cock.
Oh,
That's an inch.
Length or girth?
I don't know. It's not that big.
Half inch?
6 millimeters. Yeah, it's about a half an inch.
Oh, wow.
Not even a half an inch, I don't think.
Yeah.
But it's significant enough that it was numbing my hands. It was pressing against the nerves.
Wow.
Now, is there anything else that's good for besides inflammation? Because that just seems like there's got to be a bunch of other stuff that you can do with the blood if it's spun like that. Will that help with any other ailments?
Well, inflammation is the big one, but what's going on is that they're figuring out a bunch of different ways to use your body's own tissue to heal itself. There's stem cell procedures that are being done now, and they're going to figure out within 2 years, the same guy, Dr. Peter Welling in Germany, they're figuring out a way to restart your body's production of collagen, which is the reason why people get wrinkles in the first place.
Wow.
So all these people that have, like, you know, had plastic surgery and has their necks pulled back to hide their wrinkles, that's not going to be necessary anymore. They're going to give you a shot, and your body's going to kickstart your production of collagen, and you're going to look like you're fucking 25 again.
But will it be able to go retroactive? Because I'm hanging in there at 45. But I'm
fantastic, Jimmy.
Oh, Joe, from your lips to God's ears. But I'm starting to look kind of like a fucking bag of shit. So I'm like...
Well, wait till you'll be 47. I'll be out. 2 more years.
Yeah, but they won't give me the first shot of treatment. So I'm thinking 50. Then I'll have to fly over to Germany and fucking have a nice new face put on and then maybe hire someone to shit on it.
Yes, exactly. Nice shit video.
Well, there's probably, going to be some shit in the future that's going to change us from the ground up. I mean, what we're dealing with is the steps, the baby steps of this new technology when it comes to the healing of the body, new understanding of the healing of the body that they're just getting into now.
Yeah, everything else seemed to, up till now, medically, to be very intrusive on the body instead of working with it. And if you could get on the genetic level to get the body to, reboot, like you said, like a fucking computer, just reboot the body and have it start making stuff that it made before anyway. Like, why the hell did it stop? If they could figure that out, instead of going in and hacking things out and being more intrusive, I think it'd be great.
Yeah, they're going to figure out a way to genetically alter the human body and change it, not just in terms of healing, but they're going to be able to design people. Within 100, 200 years, you're not going to have any ugly people left.
Oh, man, Hitler was born way too early. He could have really appreciated this type of technology.
It's true. I mean, everything that he wanted to do, creating the Aryan race,
right?
Perfect super race. But it's not even just going to be that. Think about these freaks that are like furries that want to be giant mascots.
Yeah.
They're going to be real mascots. Like, they're going to be able to do that. They're going to be able to give you a dick like a carpet roll. They're going to be able to give you wings. You're going to be able to genetically manipulate the human body.
Fucking X-Men shit.
Shapes.
Yeah.
100%.
It's crazy.
They're going to be able to, ready for this? They're combining spider silk and human tissue to make artificial skin that's fucking bulletproof.
Okay, that's crazy.
They're going to be able to grow bulletproof skin.
Wow, now just think of the implications there.
Yeah, there's going to be some amazing shit
for bad people.
All I want, Joe, I don't need all that nonsense. I just want to be able to tap dance like Gregory Hines. That's all I want. Science to teach me how to tap dance. But that's
we're going to have some really interesting times in the next 100, 200 years. And a lot of people like the transcendent man with
Ray Kurzweil.
Ray Kurzweil. He believes that if you can live to be 50 more years, you're going to be able to live to be 1,000. He believes that we're literally on the cusp, and that within the next 50 years, the technologies that they're working on right now for life extension are going to kick into the point where they're going to be able to, things like this, where they're healing your body using your body's own tissue, using your body's own blood cells. This is just the baby steps. This is essentially like creating the transistor that's going to lead to the iPhone, in 100 years.
Right, and then it just exponentially, you'll be living longer.
Yeah.
Just like they have with computer memory and things like that.
But not just living longer, they're going to be able to alter the human body and change its form into anything they want. When you're getting to a point where they're able to 3D print guns, which is what they're doing now, where essentially you get the raw materials, you throw them into this machine, then you get the design, you print it out. You guys had Jeff Dunham in there, remember?
Yeah, with
his printer.
With dummy heads. Yeah.
Fascinating stuff. But they're using that now to print out organs. They're using that now to print out body parts. They're going to be able to make guns, and then they're going to eventually be able to do that with tissue. They're going to be able to do that with body parts. They're going to be able to make you a new fucking arm and a machine. And then they're going to be able to do that with the human body as far as changing the shape. We're going to have giants. We're going to have 10-foot-tall people.
I love talking to Joe. It's like this wacky world that we're going to fucking have to live in.
Do you think Ray Kurzweil's time frame is off? I feel it's partial wishful thinking that he thinks that. What would you say by 2035?
2045.
45. I think he's off.
Yeah, he might be off. But the thing about Ray Kurzweil is he's been right about everything. He predicted search engines when the Internet first started. He predicted the Internet itself. He predicted voice-to-text speech and helped create it. He predicted a million different things. He's a super genius.
Yeah.
So when a guy like that sees the potential based on what's currently available, what's possible, and what's being worked on, he's not just like speculating idly. He's making calculations based on what has already been achieved.
His what's his vitamin regimen? Do you have to belong to something to get that? Or
Flintstone chewables.
Oh, I thought it was
simple.
More.
Yeah, he likes Flintstones chewables and those little gummies.
The gummies,
the gummy bears.
Right, yes.
I give those to my kids. They're awesome. He wrote a book on it. I don't know his exact protocol, but he discussed it. When I interviewed him for my sci-fi show when we were talking about life extension, and he went into depth about it. About all the different supplements and amino acids that he takes on a daily basis. He essentially takes about 100 pills.
Now, do you think that's crazy, knowing about health that you know?
Well, no, it's definitely not crazy. But without a doubt, nutrition has a really big impact on the way your body functions. The nutrition is essentially the building blocks for cells, the building blocks for repairing your body. It's definitely, he's onto something. If there's certain things like nootropics, which are nutrients that are designed to enhance cognitive function, my company Onnit, that I own a piece of, Onnit.com, it's ONNIT, it's all about, we sell, it's a human optimization website, and we sell different supplements that are designed to enhance the way your body works. And one of them is a nutrient-rich supplement called Alpha Brain, which is based on this science, the science of creating these different supplements that enhance your brain's ability to produce neurotransmitters.
I hate when you, and then you talk about like whenever I hear something like this that sounds so great, there's always one person that will write and go, "Dude, don't take it. It gives you cancer of the heel." There's always one fucking naysayer.
Well, there's always naysayers, but you don't really have to worry too much about things that are food-based, as long as there's a long history of people using them, and that's what this stuff is. If you want to worry about cancer, a lot of what cancer is inflammation, and inflammation, which is what this guy Peter Welling is curing with this Regenikine treatment, and also free radicals, and there's also a genetic aspect to cancer, there's an environmental aspect to cancer. Guys, people are living in New York City and living in Los Angeles. There was a study recently that said that that's taking a certain amount of years off your life no matter what.
Just for where you live, yeah.
Just living in a place where there's a lot of pollution. You're taking, no doubt about it, you're taking years off your life. There's nothing you can do about it.
When you realize, when you're in walking down the street here in New York City and there's that many cars, just the brake lining dust alone, that's like all that asbestos that's flying into your face from just the brake linings.
Terrible.
Is so bad. Get me the fuck out of here. on another planet.
You drive anywhere you go. Like my family used to live in Pennsylvania, and I used to go to visit them. They used to live in like bumfuck Pennsylvania, like Harrisburg, and I would drive to visit them through like these areas where they had these cow factories. There were just like thousands of cows, and it stunk so fucking bad.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Well, when you're breathing in methane.
Yeah. The whole fucking town would stink.
Yeah, that's methane.
Yeah.
You're breathing it in, 100%. You're breathing in something that causes global warming.
That's got to be healthy.
Cows produce more global warming in India than cars do.
Yeah. There's a lot of natural reasons for global warming, as they say, but I still don't buy the whole thing.
You don't buy global warming?
Well, no, I don't buy it in that it's as dangerous as everybody says. We're humans, of course. We're affecting the environment and the planet. You'd be silly to think we're not. But I don't know how bad a thing that is when you think about, on a global scale. Like, who cares?
Well, it's pretty fucking bad when it's going to raise the ocean levels and Miami's going to disappear.
All right, and then,
there's certain places where we fucked up and we built where we shouldn't have built. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, but then,
we're not transient enough when it comes to moving cities.
But the great thing is, it just fucks up the people. Like, when people say it fucks the planet, it's like, nah, because once, if the Earth decided to turn around and fucking tell people to go fuck themselves, this planet would be just dandy in no time again.
That's true.
Regenerating everything that we fucked up.
If the ocean raised and killed a bunch of people, that would stop us from polluting the fucking ocean and give the ocean a little bit of a break.
Yeah, and then, who really cares if a fucking town gets destroyed or a city gets fucking plowed over with water for a few centuries?
Well, Anthony,
no one seems to care.
I'm on team people.
Yeah. That is a great part of what makes Joe Rogan. He is team people.
Where do you live, Joe? You're not in L.A. anymore?
Yeah, I am. I'm north of L.A. I moved back when my wife was pregnant when we were living in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
We were way too high. We were at 8,500 feet, and she was real bad. So I wound up moving back, but I fucking don't like it here.
Why is it bad to be pregnant and be that high up? Is that bad for the...
Really low. The high altitude is low oxygen.
Oh.
It's really hard to breathe. Like, it's amazing when you're working out up there. You feel like you're like you have a wet blanket stuffed in your mouth. You can't fucking breathe. It's incredible how much difference it is when you're up there. And when I was living up there, I would live up there for a couple months, and then I went to like sea level. I remember I worked out in Philadelphia after I was living up there. You feel like a fucking superhuman. Your body's used to this high altitude, low oxygen environment. But for women, when they're pregnant, it's very bad, and it's very dangerous for the baby. There's a lot of premature births in Colorado. A lot of kids are born kind of fucked up. It's real dangerous.
Yeah, I guess you'd want as much oxygen as possible.
Yeah,
at that
especially
point.
if you're not accustomed to it. It takes like 3 years for your body to totally acclimate to it.
Oh, wow.
There. And you're supposed to be there all the time in order for it to acclimate. Like, if you're up there and then you spend a month in Hawaii, you're back to square one.
Yeah, there's a football player on the Steelers. I think it's Ryan Clark, who can't play in Denver because he has some kind of condition where the altitude there, he might die.
Is he scared of heights?
That's very silly, Jim.
Well, there's a lot of fights that we put on there that are fucking terrible fights because when we go to Denver, like, especially heavyweights, they just can't fucking fight.
Yeah.
We had Mark Hunt versus Ben Rothwell, and you would think the guys were incredibly out of shape, but they're not. They're just too fucking big to be up there.
Just lumbering. I remember going to Colorado for some fucking show. I don't even know what it was, but I know I was there, and it was a jacuzzi, outside jacuzzi thing, and it was winter, so it was fucking snowing. It was great, but I went inside the condo, and I usually take 2 stairs at a time up the stairs, and I did that, and I was exhausted. Like I was huffing and puffing like I was completely exhausted.
Someone's just living life to the fullest. 2 steps. That's the name of Anthony's autobiography.
Yeah.
2 steps at a time.
2 steps at a time. It was terrible, though. Yeah,
it's a big impact, but it has a huge effect for fighters. A lot of fighters train at altitude. Like in Albuquerque, Greg Jackson's camp trains at altitude. Team Elevation in Denver. There's a lot of Amal Easton's place in Boulder is famous for guys going and doing their training camps there. because it's at a high altitude. You're working harder. Your body develops more red blood cells, and then you go down to sea level and you can perform. A lot of fighters train at Big Bear as well in California for the same reason.
How long does that effect last for? Like that super effect?
Not long. That's the thing. You got to get it in within a week or two. You got to be back. Like if you have a training camp, you're supposed to stay up there till as close to the fight as you can get.
Any of this blood stuff you're talking about, or these pills, I've always had bad sinuses. I've gotten the surgery. I've had my adenoids shrunk with not my adenoids, my fucking turbinates shrunk with a needle twice since. And I still get it's just the congestion and the fucking allergies, which you can't do anything about.
Did you ever change your diet?
You know what? It might be something to do with it. What do you think fucks that up? Do you know?
There's a lot of things. I bet gluten, and I also think dairy. Those two things probably have a big effect. Gluten has a huge effect on inflammation. Huge effect. Makes a lot of people inflame joints, and then you stop doing that, and all of a sudden you have like a lot of relief and a lot of things that are bothering you.
So my nose might be better if I didn't take. Like I only drink skim milk in the morning with my coffee, and that's it.
Yeah, but you got a lot of yogurt.
Oh yeah, I do. I normally don't eat yogurt. I just started because. Shit, you're right.
I went for acupuncture and it cleared up my allergies and sinuses and stuff. It's worked great.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll buy that shit.
Fuckery.
Yeah.
It worked for me, man. I rarely get them. It helped about 85%.
I lump that in with Chinese dudes eating rhino horn to make their dick hard.
Yeah, it's probably the act of hurting the animal that turns them on.
I don't know if it's real. I mean, I've heard people say it's real, but I've done it before, and it did fucking absolutely fuck all.
Yeah.
It didn't do a goddamn thing.
You ever take a Cialis? I'll tell you, Western medicine has figured certain things out, and my fucking punchable dick on a Cialis. Ray Kurzweil would be proud. My fucking dick just leaps to attention. Cialis rules.
You don't need to kill tigers, you fucks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Leave the animals alone. Pop a pill.
Yeah, there's a lot of those things that they figured out that's a lot better than fucking acupuncture.
Yeah, no shit.
I guess we're ending now. It's 10 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
But, Joe, man, thanks for calling, and I love the fact that you and Dana and just you speak, you're very, very honest, and I think that really helps the integrity of the sport a lot.
Well, we're fans of the sport, and that's the number one thing. And I can't stand seeing things like this happen, where people win a fight but lose a fight, where you see terrible judging going uncorrected over and over and over again.
Yeah.
There's a real issue in the sport, and I had to call in you guys.
And can I say, Bruce Buffer, I don't know if he's ever done a better job than he did announcing that match. That was one of the greatest announcing jobs I think ever done, was him introducing GSP and Johnny Hendricks. Ooh, was he fucking good. Does it ever
fired up?
Dude, fired up.
I never get tired. And now I watch the old Tyson fights, and that guy goes, "It's showtime," and I'm like, "Oh, fucking capital B-O-O." Yeah. This man needs no introduction the whole world around. Oh, yuck.
Yeah, that's some old-timey shit from the old days.
I'm like, fighting!
Yeah, and he fucking jams the card in your face, just daring you to not fight.
Buffer's face gets bright red. I mean, he's fucking screaming.
Yeah.
It's time!
Dude, what a voice. What a powerful fucking voice.
Yeah, he's the best. He's the best, and he's been doing it for a long time. You know, he's been involved in the UFC longer than me. And I started in '97.
Have you been there that long?
Yeah. I was a post-fight interviewer at UFC 12 in 1997.
Who's your first interview?
Mark Coleman. I interviewed Mark Coleman after he beat Dan Severn to win the UFC heavyweight title, the first UFC heavyweight title. I was a skinny, little, fresh-faced buck.
Aww.
I was like a kid in a candy shop. I was in my 20s, and I was like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm here! Woo!" I was in Dothan, Alabama.
Just happy to be there.
Yeah, that's how I was at AVN.
It was like porn. Like fighting was like a disgusting thing that people were involved with. It was by no means mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
Very fringe.
Well, Joe Rogan,
listen,
thanks.
I miss the fuck out of you guys. I'm coming in a day early in February for the UFC in Jersey, just to hang with you guys.
Oh, cool, man.
Good.
Yeah.
And I'll see you when I'm in Vegas over
Anthony, why don't you come out? We'll have fun like last time.
I know.
We
saw Dice. It was a blast.
Let me tell you something. That was one of my favorite Vegas weekends
Oh,
ever.
dude,
Just all of us hanging. going to get steak,
it was
going
great.
to dice. We didn't have nothing to do.
No, that's why it was fucking cool. We just hung out and laughed our balls off, man. That was great.
I just put a picture of that on my website's up now, and that's the first picture. If you guys want to see, go to jimnorton.com, and there's a show called Random Pictures from My Life, which is all my friends, and that's the first picture is all of us at the dice show at the end.
It's nothing better than.
It was such a fun week.
Yeah.
It's nothing better than seeing Dice when Dice knows friends are in the audience, because then he just does the show for you guys.
We were just looking over at each other, fucking. I was looking at Joe, and I thought I was laughing hard, and Joe's fucking like dying. We had such a great fucking time there.
So fun.
Yeah.
So fun. All right, I love you guys.
All right, buddy.
Joe, thanks, man.
Good talking to you, Jim.